This is the worst game engine of all time. In fact, it is so bad, devs just quietly abandoned it, never letting it see the days of its glory. And officially, they don't even call it a game engine. However, they have never accounted for the fact that one day some dumbass like me will attempt to make an actual playable game with it. This can't be right, is your first thought, but after seeing the end result, you will change your mind about Windows Forms forever. If you don't know what Vampire Survivors is, then most likely you lived under a rock for about 3 years now. So here's a quick recap. Click dopamine, kill monster, XP, gambling, die. Repeat. Hopefully you got everything. Now, like any complex project, we need to split it in many small pieces. Kind of like a step-by-step tutorial. Last time we made this player controller. Yes, Blue Square is alive and well. Don't worry about him. His movement set is more than enough for us, and that's part 1 already done. Now, what else? Projectiles? Enemies? Actually, no. Camera. Since this game is 2D, just like myself, that's going to be really easy. But how does such camera actually work? You'd think it's simple, just move it with the player, right? Yeah, that doesn't really work here, because in Windows Forms, everything is basically just drawn to a canvas, which means we're kinda stuck inside this window. Unless we cheat. Instead of moving the player, we move the entire world, which sounds kinda dumb, like moving a planet to walk, but it kinda works this way. Now we can actually start making Vampire Survivor stuff, and I decided to make XP crystals first. We unfortunately cannot make them without one crucial thing. You see, if we spawn more than 1,000, our game starts to lag pretty damn hard. How do we fix this? Do you still remember what I said in the beginning? If it's too complex, we split it. So let's cut our entire world into small cells. Now, crystals that are in faraway cells sort of sleep whenever we do checks, since there's no need to bother them. For better performance, we do not check collision. We check distance instead and use square distance formula. I know, this sounds boring. So just look at it instead. Magic time! Also, let's center that. With these optimizations, we can now spawn a lot of crystals, and they shouldn't affect our performance. So let's just spawn a couple millions of crystals. That doesn't look very good. At least it runs in 2 FPS. Smells like my PC is burning. Okay, 10,000 now. 5k? Wait, it actually runs smoothly. Maybe red lines were the problem? Let's try 20k. It works! Now a million again. Okay, it's too much. Before my PC explodes, let's add some sprites. Is it just me, or is this bean looking kinda thick? Also, I made them get attracted to the player. You've gotta agree. This does look pretty satisfying. You know what? I want to at least have 1,000,000 gems worth of XP. Let's optimize even further. So Vampire Survivors actually does this little sneaky thing called merging. And that's how you get XP crystals of different colors. So we now do that as well. And finally, I can spawn 1,000,000 of XP crystals and they will actually process just fine. Ooh la la, look at all of these orange gems. Each one of these gets us 10k XP. Don't worry, in-game we won't have to wait so long, because it will happen gradually without disrupting the flow of our game. No lagging, tons of XP. Next logical step is making enemies. XP is kinda useless without something that can drop it, so we're obligated to make at least some kind of enemy. Let's just copy this code real quick. Now they just stand there. Menacingly. Oh, silly me. We have to actually implement some way of pathfinding. Doesn't sound very hard, just a couple hundred more lines. Okay, we're not doing that. Let's cheese it. In fact, even the original Vampire Survivors doesn't have pathfinding. Mind-blowing, I know. It doesn't seem to be the case during gameplay, except when it does. So, what's really happening there? Game doxes your position to every enemy in the arena, and they just go there. That's way easier than real pathfinding. I've successfully created a stalking simulator. Not cool. And also apparently it hurts me. Ouch. Not like we can feel it right now. You could say most of the game happens in the console, and you'd be right. We will fix that later, probably. Now we have a new problem to solve though. These cubes need to be spawned during gameplay. And right now it's just one lonely square I spawn manually. Don't worry, little guy, we'll get you some friends. To counter depression, I've implemented a system that automatically spawns red cubes around the player. And it works alright. Look at them go. You know, it's kinda sad we can't solve real depression like that. Bloop and you have a friend. And a couple more. Like 200 extra friends never hurt anyone, right? These enemies are currently immortal. Let's change that. That means we finally get to make our own weapons of mass destruction. So those friends were temporary. F you and your friends, Red Square. You think you can bully me? I'm about to make a freaking AK-47 and destroy your whole generation. And now we can obliterate our enemies. To prevent us from unaliving ourselves with our own bullets, I've added a faction feature, which basically tells our bullet who it should hurt. Even wolves have factions, which is something I shouldn't be proud of, really. But I'm too lazy to make more classes and simulate atoms, so screw it. Just shove it in there, it'll work fine. It actually did. Except we face a new problem. This weapon sucks ass. It's just plain boring. That's why we need to craft our enhanced weapon system that will allow us to make something fun and good looking. Okay, maybe just passable. For example, how about we make different shooting patterns? These look fun, don't they? And maybe we need more than one projectile behavior. Yeah, go get them, bees. And what is this weapon? It shoots like buttons? I definitely did not call that. But while we're at it, please consider pressing that like button. It helps algorithm push my terrible videos to more people. Fixing weapons did help, but there's just not enough juice. What do I mean by that? Well, just look at Vampire Survivors. Isn't it just awesome to look at pixel porridge on your screen instead of an actual game? Apparently, yes. So let's add visual effects. I may not be a VFX artist, but I have technology on my side. All of you are gonna say, WinForms doesn't have a particle system, and you're gonna be right, unfortunately. We don't have Godsend Unity's particle system, but we might not need it at all. So take a look at this curious application, Pixel Effects Designer. It's a particle system, and it's awesome. Just look at this black hole I made. Doesn't it look beautiful? Empty void that sucks you right into it. So I've made a couple more effects in there. But they look way out of place. Because guess what? We didn't make any sprites for other stuff. So we went to the drawing board to create the most unique enemy roster in the history of gaming. Like this ugly clay golem. Or this ugly skeleton. Actually, I like this sprite. And of course, our player character. Napoleon Bloody Mary. What the fuck? It's a mammoth. I love mammoths. Okay, let's check them in game. Oh, wait. Holy, he's huge. Those skeletons look weak in comparison. Not anymore. Oh no, they're T-posing on me. Actually, there's something deeply wrong about these enemies. And fellow game devs already noticed that. No, it's not that they're ugly. The real issue, they're fucking boring. And I'm gonna fix that in a minute. But before that, I have to solve an actual problem that could potentially ruin our entire project. Right after adding my first sprites, I noticed a small issue. My game was running suspiciously slow. And having a 180Hz monitor makes me want a better frame rate than that. Game's supposed to be optimized. How are we having only 40 frames? The game's obviously cooked, because we don't even have that much stuff on the screen right now. I was preparing to call it quits, but I knew I had to do something. After digging in the code and asking really intelligent, person, I found that the issue stems from the timer WinForms provides us. It's just trash. Then what are we supposed to do? Make our own timer? No, not really. There's an easier way to use a better performing loop that helps us improve FPS significantly, until you switch the game to full screen mode. Then it sucks again. Okay, fuck this. Let's do what every AAA studio does and use DLSS. Whoa, calm down. It's not going to be like the new DLSS. In fact, I bet you don't even know what it really does. I'm gonna explain it in one sentence. Small pic, big dick. Small picture, but upscaled. Yeah, let that sink in. Our game has pixel art style, but we manually upscale each sprite instead of the whole picture. Imagine doing that. No wonder my PC is mad. Or I guess the one brain cell that we actually use. Because WinForms is single-threaded. Or just single because no one wants it. By implementing upscale, I got a 50% performance boost, and I even get 60 FPS in full screen. We might need to do more optimizations in the future, but for now I think this is fine. All of this looks like a pretty solid game, but we missed the key ingredient that makes Vampire Survivors Vampire Survivors. No vampires, by the way. And that is progression. It's probably the best part of the game, where you have to make choices and figure builds out on the fly just from random stuff that game throws at you. There are many paths we can take. For example, make upgrades slug-based, like Megabonk, which I quite enjoy. No, dude, seriously? No, seriously. The fuck is this? Or just do preset upgrades, so this video doesn't take ages to finish. It's already been 3 months. That's why I chose a simpler path, but just making those upgrades isn't enough. How are players supposed to choose them? Here we also have 2 paths to choose from. Path A, use built-in WinForms UI stuff. There's just a tiny problem that you probably already know. It is fucking ugly. So actually there's only one path, which is to make our own buttons. Yep, nothing beats making a couple thousand line project in the worst game engine ever. Fuck you, Gemini. Fun fact time. Did you know WinForms has a sprite editor? No, seriously, you can actually draw stuff here. Which only makes me ask one question. Why? If this is supposed to be a place where you make really simple apps, why bother adding sprite drawing? And it's only good for pixel art because, let's be real, you ain't drawing stuff in there, buddy. It's about time we add more weapons. Like 10 of them. Then enhance our interface. Seriously, it was even uglier than a billion stuff. Looks like we're done with this part, but I have a feeling we forgot something, because we did. See this? Yeah, we skipped that part entirely, which is not forgivable. Okay then, how do we make items? Items modify your stats, which affect a lot of things. It even affects your weapons. But we absolutely should not touch stats directly. This literally breaks consistency, just like my upload schedule, especially if we plan on adding evolutions. Instead, we create a buffer zone that is referenced while base stats are safely hidden. But enough of this yapping. I've cooked up some cool stuff and even brought tomes to this game. With this great setup, the only thing that is left for us to do is gambling! What a pretty chest! Not talking about that one. But how does it work? You didn't ask. Good thing that I will tell you anyway. So Vampire Survivors has this little addiction problem going on, where we are forced to get hooked. By that I mean open these cases. They're actually useful. At least that's what all gambling addicts say. Chests can upgrade your stuff for free after a dopamine-inducing animation. So let's yank that. But a chest without a challenge is like a dungeon without a dragon. Boring. And that's why I forced myself to add more stuff. From now on, there's always a rising chance of an elite spawn. That's just a bigger normal enemy. And also more annoying. Looks like we're done. Oh. I forgot the sounds. Well, that shouldn't be a problem, just write sound.play. Unfortunately, the sound player WinForms does have is kinda terrible. So that leaves me with no other choice than to use mods, which kinda goes against our challenge, but it's not like anyone cares that much. So hippity hoppity, that library is now my property. Finally, we can actually write sound.play, which looks so easy that we're almost on the same wave here. Except I had to actually write a bunch of code again. But I will spare you the details, or else you would click on. So what do we get in the end? Well, this game does play like Vampire Survivors, although all of the stuff I stole from Megabonk, I mean, borrowed, makes it kind of a unique game actually. I mean, these huge projectiles look kinda cool, and I definitely enjoy tomes. But can we actually say that WinForms is a game engine? Absolutely not. No, I'm not kidding, but it is fun. The problem is that it lacks. How about you check this video out, where I lose even more brain cells? Or, I don't know, just subscribe?